Hey, what is up my fellow gamers, it's Gigabyte 47 and today I am benchmarking Watch Dogs 1. Not Legion, not 2, but the first installment. And I know this is something unusual to be benchmarking on a newer GPU like this, but I am a bit curious to see how a 12-year-old game runs on the current GPU. Well, since Nvidia hasn't released any newer GPU, it is the current gen GPU for now as of May 2026, even though this GPU was released back in 2025, so it's about a year and a few months. And also I'm pairing this with the 5900X, which is 2 generations older. It's not a good pairing, but still would do the job. For this game it is overkill. And I have 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 MHz RAM, which also not that great but doable. Yeah, let's jump into the settings and we will talk more about the game and stuff as we play. And I'm playing the game at 2K resolution since that is my native resolution, and pretty much everything else maxed out at ultra settings. And I will use MSAA 4x. I think at 2K 4x would be just enough. But for benchmarking purposes we will be changing these settings later on. And for graphic settings everything is maxed out. And let's jump into the game. Let's start a new game, and here we go. Damn, that's a heavy nostalgic feeling. I mean, it's not even that old, it is still 12 years, but there are older games than this that I played a lot. But damn, that is smooth. Let me turn on the FPS counter and start recording FPS. Wow, easy 160 FPS. And look at that, the GPU is hitting about 99 to 100%, so it's good to see there is no bottleneck, but I can see some stuttering. There was a spike there, and that's probably because of the game. That's I'm pretty sure it's the game because the game was not that well optimized when it came out. It had a lot of bugs, a lot of performance issues, which has been resolved a lot after that. But if I remember right, using the ultra settings textures had some problems even on high-end PCs back then, so this might relate to that. But it's not game breaking, so I don't really mind. I would just use out any of the graphic settings I could get from it.
Some things you can't walk away from. Please! Give me a name. I don't know! A name! How's your memory now?
But damn, this looks actually pretty good for a this is actually pretty good for a 12-year-old game. Wow. It's good to see the CPU is not bottlenecking the GPU, because I thought it would most definitely would bottleneck the GPU since it's an old game, and the GPU would be a massive overkill for this game. But turns out maybe it's because of the bad optimization back then, or it was actually a really graphically intensive game.
Chicago police, if there's anybody in here, identify yourself.
You know, honestly, if this game came out this year, like recent, I'm pretty sure the requirements for this game would be absolutely atrocious, because if you have seen the minimum requirements for the new Lego games that's coming out, you know how badly the gaming industry is going towards optimization, because these days optimization seems like something that if you're lucky enough you get a well optimized game. If not, you have to do with DLSS and frame generation. Back then when this game came out, the game was heavily degraded. Like the graphics was downgraded because of console limitations. And just imagine if the game had the same E3 graphics, then it would be a banger even by today's standard. I mean, even with the downgrade, it doesn't feel like dated at all. It still holds up even in 2026.
Bad boy.
Like I said, I like Watch Dogs 1 more than 2. I haven't played Legion, but I'm pretty sure even if I play Legion, this will still be my favorite Watch Dogs. I'm not sure why, even though this game was not that much of a amazing game. The story was okay, I think, and the game, like I said, had a lot of bugs and performance issues. But even with all that, I still like this game more than the other two. Probably the style of the character. In this game you could just walk like this for for a long time and feel pretty great, because the walking animation and stuff, they nailed it in this one. Holy wow. Damn, I still, oh, look at the reflections and stuff. No ray tracing and nothing, just pure graphics. And this is with the downgrade. Just imagine if the game haven't been downgraded like this. Wow. Holy moly, man. Yeah, performance so far is pretty great, but I expected more with the 5070 Ti, because again, this is a 12-year-old game, so yeah. I mean, over 60 FPS is something that I really don't mind. I mean, for single player games, as long as it can get at least 60 FPS, I am more than happy, because like I said, I used to play games with barely like 20 FPS back in the days, and if I would get over 30 FPS, I would be the happiest guy ever. And getting over 60 FPS, damn. Let's try with the MSAA at 8x, because right now we are getting about 140 to 150ish FPS. Let's try with the MSAA at 8x. You don't need 8x at 2K resolution actually. But for benchmarking purpose, let's do it anyways. Dropped about 10 FPS, I think. Still, if you want to play with MSAA, okay, I can feel some stutterings here and there. But yeah, you can play the game with 8 times MSAA if you want to. But do I recommend it? Definitely not. At 2K resolution, the trade-off for performance is not worth the visual improvement you get. Okay, right now we're getting about 130 FPS right here. So let's try TXAA 4X. About 10 FPS more. The MSAA 4X is pretty much similar to a TXAA at 4X. Yeah, I could see some kind of jagged edges around that mortal logo. When I move, it's gone, but when I stay stationary, it comes back. Let's try TXAA at 4x, and that pretty much removes it. There's just a tiny bit, but it's barely noticeable. How about SMAA? Yeah, it's much worse. So it's either TXAA or MSAA 4X. I think TXAA does a better job at hiding those lines. It's about similar. I think it blurs the just a little bit. I wouldn't mind playing with either of these turned on. So I'm gonna keep at MSAA. Alright, so damn, again, the game looks pretty good, man.
I'll have to
Obviously,
thank
the
CTOS
5070
one
Ti
day.
can
Simple breach of the
handle
facial recognition
pretty
software,
easy,
and
but
I've got access to
again,
everyone's
like I
personal
said,
details.
I was expecting a bit more FPS out of it, but you know, it's an Ubisoft title. What do you expect? Let's try 4K. Like, okay, 4K. We probably don't need 4X. I'll use 2X. Even that wouldn't be needed, I think. Let me
Simple trace of
check
his
that.
call, and he's mine.
Yeah, at 4K, even 2X is more than enough. So let's start counting the FPS. The GPU is around 90% here because there's not much details, I guess, for the GPU to work at, and I don't think we have hit the CPU. I mean, if we haven't hit the CPU limitation at 2K, we will never hit that at 4K, obviously. And even in 4K, it is smooth sailing actually. But unfortunately, I can't play at 4K since my monitor is
He's
just
here somewhere.
2K. I'm using custom
Move carefully.
resolution
Don't get
using
spotted.
NVIDIA control panel
Profiler, do the work.
just to show you guys the FPS. I forgot the takedown key. Which was it? I forgot the key. Okay. Okay, so 4K still no issues and the frame time is pretty stable. I haven't,
Won't bother anyone
I don't
now.
think I've seen any frame drops yet. But going in over 60 FPS in this game breaks some physics, and as you can see from my code, I think I have to go to a place with a lot of wind. Unfortunately, the frame view is not working with the game, but I'm pretty sure the latency is pretty close to zero. Because how smooth the game is, and look at the frame times. It's still not perfect. There are some spikes here and there. Being you know how unoptimized this was, it's not much of a surprise. And yeah, there it is, the wind bug or the code bug or whatever that is. Like, the physics of the clocks get kind of crazy at times because we are over 60 FPS and the game is not supposed to be playing at over 60 FPS, because you know, when this game was launched for consoles, most of the consoles were just locked at 30 FPS back then, and 60 FPS was mostly for PCs, and there wasn't many PC that could push over 60 FPS with this game back then. I think, I'm not sure because I didn't own any good hardware to check it. There's certainly some spikes. I think I might you know, have a smoother gameplay if I turn down the textures, but you know, I really don't mind those small spikes here and there as long as I can get the maximum details out of this game. because it's an old game, and if I want to play this game, I want to play this game maxed out. I mean, I had my fair share of, low setting gaming with this title. So yeah, look at that smooth walking. I could walk around the streets like this and not get bored. And look at the cloth going crazy. Actually, the city feels alive. It's pretty good. Even for Ubisoft, they did a pretty good job, even with all that controversy and stuff. If you guys want to see the gameplay with the graphic mod installed, just let me know and I will do that. Still not as good as I thought to be, because I've seen better performance with I think Requiem without ray tracing, and it's kind of a disappointment to not get that kind of FPS. What the heck? What's happened? Okay, so that just proves the city is actually alive, because random things like that happens all over the city, it seems, because I haven't been exploring the game that much. I, I totally forgot all the controls. Wow, look at the streets. I mean, look at the alleys. Alley? Anyways, it was beautiful. We have passed that. And we got the bad guy, I guess. Well, anyways, that's about it. That's the benchmark of Watch Dogs 1 on the 5070 Ti. So running a tutorial game on the current gen hardware is not what I expected, but still good to see that I can now play the game over 100 FPS at 2K resolution. I'm now going to be playing at 4K resolution. It does feel sharper. I thought my monitor would just have washed out colors and stuff, but the custom resolution does its job. Maybe I don't know if it's accurate as you would be playing on a native 4K monitor, but I think it for the benchmarking purposes it does the job, I hope. Alright, as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, adios.